Hey, and happy June. Oh my goodness, it's really June, y'all. This year is just flying by. And we're just excited because it's a whole new month. It's a new season. There's so much elevation in the air. People are graduating. It's Father's Day month. It's Juneteenth month. So many great things are happening in the month of June. So if you're excited as me, just give us a quick shout out through a comment and let us know. We also want to know who you are. So if you're watching us, either from Facebook, LinkedIn, or YouTube. Just comment below and let us know so we can acknowledge you as well. We do want to apologize that we have been off of Facebook for a few weeks, and do appreciate your patience with us. If you see me looking down, I'm just sharing on Facebook, but we appreciate your patience with us in terms of following our content and just being patient with us to get back on to the Facebook platform. So we're back on Facebook, LinkedIn, and YouTube Live. We hope that you are enjoying this content. Today, y'all, we have an amazing guest with us. Tiadra is with us and she's in the house, y'all. And I'm really excited because she is my new sister. Hey, girl. My new sister, all the way from Texas. Um, and so we're going to be talking today about purpose, competition, and how do we live our best lives and be able to be our best and most authentic selves. She's going to give us some wisdom nuggets. Y'all stay to the end. If there's anything that resonates with you during this live, let us know, share it, comment below. We want you to be very much engaged in the conversation. So, Tiadra, hey girl, thank you for joining me today.
I am just super excited. You know how sometimes when you're so excited, the sound doesn't come out? That was me earlier because I didn't want to ruin your introduction. But I'm
No
super
worries.
excited to be here with you.
Yeah.
We gonna chit chat. We're gonna chit
Yes,
chat.
yes,
I'm
ma'am.
ready.
Yes, ma'am. I'm so excited. So let me just do the formalities really quickly. I'll read through the highlights of Tiadra Knox bio. So, Mrs. Knox is a wife, visionary speaker, coach, and author. She guides individuals to live a crowned life, which she'll explain in just a moment, through spiritual, personal, and career development. She has helped individuals from entry level to mid level employees, as well as local ministries and organizations. Her ultimate goal is to move people, is to move you to do the work that will allow you to align with the assignment in your life. If you catch her with a Bible in her hand, jewels in her heart, and a message in her mind, you will understand why people seek her to drop jewels of wisdom and knowledge. She teaches others how to live a crowned life without competing, comparing, or compromising. Three C's. Their calling prompted her to start King's Kid. This organization offers blogs, training, coaching, and events. And her favorite saying is Dr. Dre drops the beat. I drop jewels of knowledge and wisdom. That is absolutely unique and beautiful. Thank you, Tiadra, for being here again. And if you can tell us what is crowned, like what does that stand for?
So, to be crowned is to create cultures where relationships, opportunity, and wisdom is nurturing and evolving through dialogue. And that's not something that you do in just one setting. The goal is to allow you to be crowned in every area of your life. So, you don't want one area that's full of jewels and then the other areas that's full of junk. We want all the
Mhm.
jewels that God has given us to shine bright in every area of our lives. So that's what it means to be crowned in a synopsis.
Yeah. What does that look like? I know we just jumped into it. I'm so sorry. I
No,
just
you're
really
good. You're good.
right into it. But what does it look like to have a life where you have some jewels but some junk? What does that look like for a person that may be listening and watching?
Mhm. So you could have relationships where your friendships are thriving, but your marriage is not. You could
Mm,
have it to where your career is thriving, but your relationships is suffering. It could also be a place where you're not taking care of your health, you're not taking care of your mental, emotional, spiritual well-being, but
right.
yet you're able to show up and celebrate for everybody else. So
Mm,
places where you're actually compromising, or the places where you're actually being hindered or where you're not thriving, those are kind of like the junks. Those are things that we need to reevaluate to kind of get them on the best route. Those places that you are thriving at, we want you to continue to thrive in those areas. So how do we sustain and maintain the levels in the places where we're thriving, while also those levels that have that junk, let's identify the junk, throw away the junk, identify the jewels within the junk, and then bring those up. And then you, by that time, all the jewels in your crown, they won't be perfect. They will not be the same shape. They will not be the same size. They may not even be the same color, but we're going from junk to jewels.
Wow. I love that, and it sounds like balance, right? And it sounds
Mhm.
like, finding a way to really be able to be great in all things, and I love the example that you used. You can be excelling in business or in career, but really not excel in the area of relationship, and essentially it's lopsided, and that does lead to things like lack of fulfillment in life and so forth. Is that what you've seen in working with any of your clients?
Yes, I have seen that. The other crown that I want to touch on is when it's a crown that's thorny, right? So you have a crown, but it has thorns, and people don't like the thorns. So sometimes we get so caught up with the jewels, the glitz, and the glam that we neglect that there will be some things in your crown that truly may be a representation of God. So one crown that I do have in my office is the one with thorns. So if I'm feeling like something is not right, but I know it's a part of God's plan, that's the crown that I actually look to with the
Mhm.
thorns. We identify those things that we may not like it, we don't prefer it, it's not our option. However, it plays an ultimate purpose that's bigger than us. So we gain a bigger perspective. So in with the clients, we talk about all of that. We talk about your jewels. In some sessions, we literally start off, tell me your jewel and tell me your junk,
I love it.
and what do you want to focus on for this session. And in between that, you're gonna have some thorny things, and that's okay. Does the thorny things help you reach and become all that you have got, all that God has called and created you for? And if so, then it's not God that needs to change the situation, it's us that needs to change in the situation.
Wow, that's so profound. Tell me more about the thorns. Like, what is the significance of the thorns? And what are some life examples of what a thorn may look like in someone's life?
Mhm. So I always think about, when we talk about thorns, I always think about Paul, because that's what he talked about. There is a thorn in my side, and it continued to go at him. And he said, and God told him, my grace is sufficient for you. So a thorn could be a problem, a thorn could be a person, a thorn could be a place, a thorn could be a thing. For me, my thorns personally, it has been, my career. It's like, God, this sucks. I
Mhm.
don't want to do this job. You call me for greater. I know what my talents are. And instead of him removing me from the situation when I wanted him to, what he did instead was keep me in that until I changed and until I surrendered. And then after the change and surrendering came, then I was released. And I wasn't even released the way I thought I was going to be released, right? So then you could have thorns in personal relationships with your friends or your parents. You could have a thorn with a coworker. You don't really like that coworker, but what they be saying, it be the truth. Like, you may not like the messenger, but their message is something that could help you grow and advance. That could be a thorn. So something, God may not remove them from their job, he just may strengthen you to be able to deal with them a tad bit much better.
I like how you explained that, and it's so it sounds like a thorn is something that's uncomfortable. It brings discomfort, but there's purpose in the thorn, and there's purpose in the discomfort.
It's
So there's
purpose.
a reason why, and it sounds
Mhm.
like the way we should really look at thorns are things in life that may come our way, whether it be testings or trials or
Yeah.
triggers that we don't like. But how do we
Mhm.
embrace that? How do we be comfortable with that? Because I think it's a very interesting uh, change of generation from
Yeah.
millennial. I assume that you're a millennial, like I
Yeah.
am. Then we have Gen Z, then we have Alpha. When we look at generations, past millennia, there seems to be this almost inability to deal with discomfort. Uh,
Inability to endure through trials and tribulations, which is
yeah,
going to happen.
yeah,
It's
absolutely.
you're so right. It is going to happen. Like I tell my mentees, especially at the college level, sometimes life doesn't get easier. You just get better. You get better at managing. You get better at thriving. You
Yeah,
get better at partnering with God and the Holy Spirit to use wisdom and discernment to guide you in making better decisions. So sometimes, I mean, it does get rough. As the saying go, adulting and adulthood, it sucks. Yes, for it definitely sucks, and a lot of times we don't prefer it, but we become better at building that relationship with God. We become like wine. It gets better with time.
I love it.
Not
And
perfect.
yeah, that part. And I think that, there is this idea, this ideology that that life is just going to be a bed of roses and you're never going to go through anything. And if you're going through something, you lack faith or there's something wrong with you. But could it be that you're going through something because there's something right with you? Right?
That's
Should we be
exactly what it is. That what you just said is the epitome of Jesus. He was perfect in all his ways, yet he literally came to save those. He came to save those that would crucify him. He did what we couldn't do, what we wasn't capable of doing, what we wasn't qualified to do. Don't believe me? Just ask Adam and Eve. They messed it up for all of us. So if he had to go through it, what makes us think that we won't have to go through anything?
very true. So true. And you talked about one thing before we went live, and that was that
Mhm.
you teach individuals that are Christians how to live, I guess, authentic lives in a realm of corporations and so forth.
Mhm.
What does that look like for somebody that's listening and may not understand? How do you do that? What's your way?
So I'll share two ways,
Mhm.
that two small ways that can make a big impact, and then I'll share the result of it. So Fridays, typically on Fridays, if you have a meeting, one of the questions that people are going to ask is, what's everybody plans for the weekend? And you let them know what you're doing on Friday, what you plan to do Saturday, and be honest if you really plan to go to church on Sunday. And if you plan to go to church on Sunday, you say, "Oh, I plan to go to church on Sunday." That's a one jewel that you just dropped. Like, this is what I plan to do. Reverse it to Monday. Monday, that main question that everybody asks when you're in meetings, you're going to say, "Hey, I went to church on Sunday. Saturday, I did this. Friday, I did this." So it's Friday and Monday where those are the times where you could share your faith activities that you've done. Other ways the result of that. So the result of me doing that has led to private conversations with employees, just one on one. And in those private conversations, we're talking about God. Like we block the time off. We may talk a little bit about work, but it's really about how faithful God is and how God is moving in our lives. And recently, I had the opportunity, because I think there's no other way to describe it than an opportunity. But I had the opportunity to celebrate this achievement with one coworker, and we ended the call. I said, "You ready to pray?" And she was like, "Yes." I said, "Let's go." And we prayed. This is not the first time that has been done, but as you continue to drop little hints, as you continue to celebrate others, as you continue to show up in the light and emulate God's light in corporate spaces, people are magnets to that. People are magnets. So you never know who's a believer in the faith unless somebody take the first step and say something or do something that makes the connection, right? Because it does say where two or three are gathered. So when we say something, we put it out there and it's like a fishnet. We attract other believers to us, and behind the scenes we're praying, behind the scenes we're partnering, behind the scenes we're seeking the counsel of God. And that's how you make a collective impact in corporate spaces that embodies who Christ is.
It's so powerful. And it also sounds like you're giving practical tools to the average Christian and believer that may not know how to show up as their authentic self in
Mhm.
workspaces. You're showing them how to do that through a step by step process. I think that's so powerful. What are the results of this? If a believer is taking these tools and they're implementing it, or a Christian is taking it and implementing it, what are the results that they're seeing in their life or that you've noticed in your clients' lives?
So one result that I have noticed is people with their personal journey they become a little more wise as far as like, understanding God, seeing God, things like that. Another result that I have seen, it was years ago. I didn't know whether or not this coworker was a believer, but I knew she was having a hard time at the company, and I would write her notes. I would write her notes, and her notes would be either scriptures or it'll be prayers. Years later, she's now telling me, man, that prayer saved me. That prayer kept me at that job longer than what. So the seeds you plant, like this is 2 or 3 companies ago. So sometimes you may not see the results right then and there. It may be years later. Something that is more where you're seeing the results a little bit more is if maybe y'all have those private conversations and you see them growing in their faith, and you're like, hey, check this out and let me know what you think. And they actually respond back to be like, I really like that. That was on point. I can relate to this. Nona Jones, she shared one strategy that she used when she was working at Facebook. She would send certain coworkers, not like the holy, holy, holy music, but the ones that was right on the edge, right, right down the edge where you can get them in.
Right.
Sometimes that's what it takes, sometimes that's what it takes to send something that's there, but it's like still got the Jesus in it, but it's like a little on the edge. Send that to them and reel them in, and then you can go forth and disciple as well.
I love the strategies. I love it. It's so important that we use strategies that are going to be effective to today's approach or to today's world, because things have drastically changed. You talked about in that crown acronym, culture being one of them. And I think that is a huge piece that we need to really, I think, do a better job at understanding. How do we remain relevant to culture? How do we remain connected to culture? Well, how do we become culture shifters? How do we shift culture? And that's another conversation, but not sure how Crown may be doing any work in that area. But if so, I'd love to hear it.
Not We don't do work as it relates to exactly like shifting the culture. What
Mhm.
we do is allow we promote and empower you to not go in to try to conform, because a lot of times when we conform, we remove the things that makes us unique. We remove the things that makes us who we actually are. So when we're
Right,
removing things that makes us who we are, we're actually dimming our own lights. We're dimming our own light. So we do the opposite. What are
right,
those things that makes you? Identify those things and how to show up as such. A
right.
long time ago, I interviewed for an organization, and my feedback was um, wear less bold makeup. That
Mhm.
was one of the things in my feedback. Me wearing less bold makeup, I know that doesn't help me. That doesn't help me at all.
Right.
Like, I love the colors, I love the patterns,
Yes,
I love all the things.
right,
So and it's not because I'm big on vanity. It's just that's a part of my
right,
makeup.
right.
So with that, I've been on a mission to show up with patterns, with specifically pink or red
I
lipstick.
love it, and your
Um,
pink lipstick is the bomb.
Thank
Telling you
you.
my age right
Thank
now.
you. So it's really how to show up
Mhm.
with not trying to conform and fit in, but
Right.
standing out, because God didn't call us to fit in. He called us
Mhm.
to stand out. So how do we stand out? And when we show up with our light, it gives others permission to shine their light and be their most authentic selves.
Mhm. I love that. That's so powerful. And even the example of wearing your makeup, which I think is beautiful, by the way. That was the first thing I see. I'm like, I love her lipstick. It's so pretty. I love the pink. But I love that. Like it's showing up as you and not conforming to I guess society or other people's opinion of who you are. I'm wondering, people really struggle with that. Like one of the things that we talk about a lot, we've talked about on these live chats, is something called imposter syndrome, which I'm sure you've
Mhm.
heard about before. And I think people that suffer with imposter syndrome essentially don't have a full grasp of who they truly are, or they're lacking essential confidence or self esteem skills, or a lack of positive self or identity. And that leads
Right.
them to feeling like I'm an imposter when in reality, you are brilliant, you are gorgeous, you are intelligent, you have everything that you need, and being who you are authentically without trying to conform to who people want you to be, to people's opinion of you, but just really being comfortable and who God created you to be. I just think it's really, I love this. And it's something that people really need to really learn. But it's really a journey, right? Because you have to be
Yes.
connected to your inner self in order to be your
Right.
authentic self. Because if you're
Correct.
not connected to you, how do you know or be authentically you?
It's extremely hard, and
Yeah,
it takes a lot and a lot of energy to do. And I told my husband not too long ago, um since I've been working from home, that has helped me show up more authentic, show up in a more authentic way, since working from home. But just know that the same energy that you're going to get over the screen, you will get the same energy in person. You're going to get all the colors and all the patterns. I may have one or two black dresses. I may have only two pinstripe suits.
I love it.
Like, I'm all about the colors. I'm all about the
Can you give like
patterns.
a snippet of what you're wearing? Can you like stand up for us? Like,
It's a dress. Yeah, I actually standing up. Let me get on my tippy toes, but it's a dress. I
hey,
call I call this my training dress because
that's so cute.
when I switched careers, from my previous career to now, this is what I wore to orientation. So this dress is like one of my special dresses, because it's like, girl, you'd have made it on over. You'd have made it on over into what you were praying and crying for. So
Yes, I
yeah,
love
thank you. Yeah, it's just a little dress that tie at the top, and it's real loose and flowy. And I'm gonna probably go outside and take pictures and stuff, all that good stuff. So yeah,
I love it. I love it. I love that so much. I'm very, very similar in a sense that based on what I'm feeling is how I will dress. So, like,
yes,
for example, I have on a red dress because red is like my power color. So, I love like red is just, it's me.
I love
Represents who I
that.
am, what I do, moving and shaking and all that
Yes,
wonderful stuff. So, it's loud, but I literally love, I've all red in my closet. So, I love
yes,
that. And I think that even that, right, it's reflective of who we are and being able to stand authentically without being ashamed. And that's what
correct,
essentially Crown is about. It's helping
correct.
people move from a place of hiding and shame to standing in your authentic place and who God has called you to be.
And who He has called you to be, without competing, comparing, or compromising that.
I love it. And we're wrapping up in just a few moments. But hey, Deborah Johnson, shout out to you while you're tuning in from lunch. If you can tell us a little bit about the competing part, because I think this is the part that we really struggle with. And look, I gotta put two hands up, right? Like the comparing part for me would be two hands up because I'll scroll on social media and I'm like, oh, that's not fair. That's not fair, right? And you're looking at everybody else's story. You're like, everybody's doing it. Oh my goodness, it ain't happening for me. So you can get caught up in the comparison loop or the comparison
Yes.
trap. But if you can speak a little bit to the competing and comparison cycles and how do we get caught in it and how do we come
Mhm.
out of it, that'd be great.
Okay, so a lot of times, if you are not playing sports, it's competition in sports. Somebody has to win. You gotta have a winner. You gotta have a loser. When that's not the same rules when it comes to life, and it's not the same rules when it comes to the industry of the kingdom of God. That's just not it. So sports have their own rules and regulations, but so does God. So to stop the cycle of comparison, I'll touch on that one first. In order to stop it, you first have to discover where did it start, which means what is that root? What's the root of your comparison, right? So for me, my comparison was rooted in the fact that I knew I had the gifts. I knew what God had told me. But me knowing it went into a posture of of not even expectancy, but I felt entitled that God should do this and that I should get this and I
Wow.
should be on that stage. So
Mhm.
it's not that what I desired was wrong, but my
Right.
posture in the presence of God was
Mhm.
all wrong. It was all
Wow.
wrong. It was all out of order. I
Mhm.
wanted the stage, but I didn't want to serve. I wanted the
Wow.
fame, but I didn't want to remain faithful to
Mhm.
cultivating what God had gave me. I wanted to work, right? Like I wanted the work.
Right.
I wanted everything that came with it, but
Mhm.
the right gifts rooted in the right posture will lead you to a life of righteousness, which produces results that are far more than what we can ask, think, or imagine. So I had to place comparison with celebration.
Wonderful.
And when I replace comparison with celebration, that means I had to spend a lot of time, and I still do spend a lot of time off of social media. But when I am on social media, it's a celebration role. When people are sharing their good news with me, I don't envy that because with their crowned
Oh, yeah.
moment, it came with the level of crucifixion. And do you want that same crucifixion that they had to have? And sometimes there are people that I used to look at when they share what they had to crucify. I'm just like, God,
Mhm.
I didn't want that to begin with. And he knew that's why he didn't give it to me. So
Right.
that's the comparison aspect.
Replace
Now,
with celebration. Excellent.
yes, yes. So we'll replace the comparison with celebration. Now,
Very.
when it comes to the competition,
Mhm.
that needs to be replaced with collaboration. Now, this is what I learned when it came to competition. We all have a role to play. So we see
Yeah.
people and we're like, I'm a speaker, they're a speaker. How they get on that stage? They
Mhm.
audience may be kids. Do you like kids enough to be speaking to kids?
Right.
Is that so? And that was what was going on with me. Like
Mhm.
I compared speaker to speaker, but
Mhm.
when I realized that the niche was completely different, it's like, why am I up here
Oh,
comparing?
yeah.
Like, how can I collab with you? How
I love
can I help push your things forward?
yes.
And you have to be very careful with the compare with the competition piece because
Mhm.
the same people that you could be competing with in
Mhm.
your heart, those will be the same people God will use to help build the community that he needs you to build to execute
Absolutely.
their calling. So you have to be very careful with that. That also means that you might need to spend some time off of social media, and that
Mhm.
also may mean you really may need to go back to see what was the root and where did it start,
Mhm.
because where did it start, there will actually be a pattern. So you trace the pattern, And then you have to replace the pattern with something that produces better fruit and better results that lead to a more righteous life, which is basically being like God. So I didn't get here because I became an expert at competition and comparison because I studied it. No, I lived it. And when
Mm,
I say I lived it in every aspect of my life. When it came to finances, when it came to relationships, when it came to marriage, I literally had to make a declaration. But I wrote vows to myself before I walked down the aisle because I knew that if I walked into my marriage competing and comparing, we wasn't gonna last long, and it wasn't gonna be a him thing; it was gonna be a me thing.
wow.
So in every area of my life, I had to uproot competition and comparison.
Mm. Drop the Jews. That was good. That was so good. Like I that really just touched me in so many ways that I know so many other people listening. You said replace the comparison with celebration and
Mhm.
replace the competition with collaboration. So
Collaboration.
many things come up for me that we can't even talk about because we're coming on 30 minutes.
I
But
know.
that was so fast, wasn't it? I know it just go by like this. We got to bring you back on. But that was so good, especially the competition piece, because I think women, we struggle with that a lot more than men. Men may not struggle with it as much, but women, we see other women, we're like, oh, that's not, I could do it, or it's not fair.
Yes.
That
Yes.
kind of stuff. But I love what you said. It's we all have our place in the world. We all have a
I
specific
have a
purpose who you're called to reach. I may not be called to reach what you're doing. I may
yes.
not be called to do, but we're stronger when we come together. And so we
Correct.
community around that as a collective versus competing. And
Yes.
so I love that. I love that so much. We see it in corporate America all the time. They come together, they merge ideas, they merge
Right.
businesses, they collaborate
Right.
on initiatives, and we need to exemplify that same pattern. I
Correct.
absolutely love that. And that
Correct.
is how you get results. So people may be wondering, why am I not getting results in my life? Or why is it that what I desire I'm not seeing? It might be, are you comparing? Are you
Mhm.
competing?
Did we?
What's the root of the issue? Like you said, get
Correct.
to the root of that, look for the patterns so that you can be healthy, so that you can get do the inner work. And that's the part that we
Correct.
don't do.
We don't like the inner work because it brings exposure to patterns and behaviors that we think are good, but they're really not good. But
Yeah.
exposure, you need the exposure because it's going to bring to light what work needs to be done. So that way you're not just trying to hit a fly on a wall, you're actually able to develop a strategy to
Yeah.
help overcome whatever it is that you're experiencing. I tell my clients all the time, where you don't have a strategy, you have a struggle.
Girl, say that one more time.
Where you don't have a strategy, you have a struggle.
That's so good. That is so good. You need a strategy for every area of your life.
Yes.
I love
Yes.
that. Exposure, 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 because we have
Mhm.
secrets. We don't want to address it. We avoid it. We have avoidance. We don't want people to know. We put it away. We
Correct.
hide it in a closet. We act like it doesn't happen. We put on a mask,
Layers
fake
and
it
all
until
that.
we make it. And
Yes.
meanwhile, like you said, there's the junk, but the Jew can't come out until we deal with the junk inside
You
of
got
us.
to deal with both of them. You got to deal with it.
So good.
You got to
That's
deal with
so
it.
good. That's so good.
Yes.
We are coming to the end over here, Tiedra, but give us some last wisdom nuggets. People are probably watching and listening. They may be struggling. They don't have a strategy right now, but they're
Mhm.
struggle. Can you give some words of wisdom to those people, some Jews?
Yeah, so I'll give you some resources to use, if you find yourself struggling, specifically with trials, tribulations, competition, comparison. I'm always, always, always tell you to open your Bible. Every car has a manual. Every invention has an inventor. We are God's creation and He is our creator. And your Bible is your guideline for how you should live this life. Now, if you want a very practical book in the Bible to read, check out James 1. James 1, it's very good on instruction. It talks about listening and doing. Like it's a very good practical. It also talks about trials and the mindset of when you're going through trials and things like that. The next one is community, wise counsel from those that went before you. Get some people that are on your same level that can journey through this thing with you, and then make sure you reach back to those are behind you. That's a generational community that you're creating. Faith without works is dead. You can have all the faith in the world, but you better be able to work it. So after you get off your if after you get off your knees praying, you need to get up and go to work. You need to get up and do something. My
Absolutely.
last one is my I have two more. Rest. Incorporate rest. Incorporate rest. You need rest. Go to bed at night, wake up at a good hour, do what you need to do, but rest is essential and rest is very vital to making sure that you're able to carry the calling and the crown without crushing under its weight. Like you want to be able to be restful, you want to be able to be strong, to be able to do that. And my last one, and this is my personal favorite one, and this is what I have been very relentless about, being relentless and not allowing this world to corrupt your calling and crown that you were created for. Be relentless about that. And rest is one of the biggest ways you can be relentless and not allowing this world to corrupt you, because they say work every day all day and be on. That's not what God says. You need to rest.
That is so true. The hassle, the hustle, and never resting, it is so old. We need to be able to have balance,
Yes.
cultivate balance in our lives. Because in reality, and you said that, and actually I need you to repeat it. I was taking notes. You had mentioned having the capacity to carry the calling without being crushed. Is that what you said?
Mhm. Carry the crown and the calling without crushing under its weight. Yeah.
That's so good. That is so good. That is so good. I mean, that those are some jewels right there. We need to be able to carry. We need capacity
Hmm.
to carry. Without capacity, we can't do nothing. We can't go to
Correct.
the next level. We can't be promoted. We can't have all the good things that we
Can't
want,
do
and
none of that.
we won't be able to handle it. We need
Right.
capacity for it,
Right.
capacity to carry. We need to rest. We need to be relentless, but rest is essential because if you're not resting, you are going to be too tired to deal with the junk. You're just going to be
You're gonna
tired,
be exhausted and you're not gonna want to do it at all.
mentally exhausted. Some of us are dealing with mental exhaustion, emotionally exhausted,
Right.
physically exhausted. We're just tired, and
Tired.
our tired is tired of us. You need
Yes.
rest. You need some rest. You need rest. You need rest. And you need to be relentless about your calling. That
Yes.
was extremely excellent. Thank you so much, Dee.
Yes. Thank you. I had so much fun today. I had absolutely so much fun.
Yes, so much, so much, so much fun. We gotta hook up off this and gotta bring you
Okay.
back on. How can people reach you if they wanna book a session with you? They want that, that jewel, they want to deal with the
Mhm.
junk in their lives. How can they reach you?
Everything is King's Kid. So my Facebook, my Instagram, and my website, KINGSSKID. Everything. Website, kingskid.com, Instagram, Facebook, just King's Kid, but it's KINGSSKID.
Amazing. And there she is right there on the screen, King's Kid on social media, as well as kingskid.com. Please, dot com, correct?
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
Please reach
exactly.
out. Yes. Please reach out if you are interested in dealing with the issues, the thorns, and all those things that come with life. You can hear the jewels that she has imparted into us. I'm sure you've received something. I know I have. I'm going to listen to this again. And do us a favor, share this message
Share,
out. Share this message
share.
out. Share it, share it, share it. Sharing is caring, as the kids say. So share it out so that others can hear this message and be able to gain something from this as well. Remember that there is so much jewel inside of you and it needs to be discovered, but there is the inner work that you have to do and be willing to do. And there are people here to help you do it, like
Yeah.
Teidra. So we appreciate you all for listening. Teidra, thank you so much again for your time, your energy, your effort, your wisdom. I appreciate you.
Thank you. I'll definitely be back. And I definitely had a good old time. So I'm so thankful for this opportunity. I'm so thankful to have another sister to help spread the word. When we come together and we partner, man, a lot of the world problems could really get solved in a very fast way.
I love it. I love that. Absolutely. Absolutely. And thank you all so much for watching, for tuning in. Don't forget to subscribe to iRaise on YouTube, at iRaise.org. Also, follow us on LinkedIn, Facebook, and Instagram. We want you to be up to date with all the things that we're doing. June, there's so much going on with the agency. We want you to be connected to it. We just left out our mental health segment. We're starting a whole new series, Wellness. We'll be talking all things medical. We'll be bringing some doctors on the platform, giving you information. We'll also be having an entrepreneur segment in the month of June, where we'll be having our kids that's finishing executive coaching program that'll come in and talk about their business. We have a Shark Tank event that's coming up. We're looking for everyday investors, as low as $50 to invest in our kids' business. So if you are interested in supporting our youth, and supporting their business endeavors, please reach out to us. There's so much more going on, and we want you to be in the loop, stay connected. And don't forget to subscribe to our ATL Rise podcast on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Podbeam, and whatever platform you listen to. We want you to be the first to be notified whenever there are new episodes. Go ahead and check out the last two episodes that we released. We want you to just to get all the wisdom that you can so that you can live a thriving and successful life. We love you all. We appreciate you all. Share this message out and stay tuned. We'll be back soon. Thank you all.
Bye y'all.